Hello my fellow video gaming minions, how are you doing today? You doing okay? I wish you well on this wonderful day on this globe. Yeah, okay. Now, I just want to touch upon a little tiny small of a subject regarding emulation in terms to, physical copies of video game hardware and the gaming itself, of being a collector. Now, there are points I will touch upon, and there will be points I won't touch upon, okay? I want to keep this video nice and brief. I don't want to go overboard too much. So that's because I want to bring you guys in. Like I said, my best videos are going to be the ones that are going to be rebooted. The ones I can actually properly edit. So I will be a bit spontaneous with this, kind of. And I just want to, express my thoughts in an okay manner. Now, emulation versus consoles, or emulated games versus video gaming collectors in your collections. Yeah, that'll do. Or do you prefer emulations over video game itself? You know where I'm coming with this in any case. Okay, so where do I kind of stand on this subject? Well, many of you may know I'm actually a video game collector. I'm really into the emulation side of things. I've got my video games over there in my DVD display case. So N64 at the bottom with my SNES, Mega Drive's right at the top with my Xbox, Dreamcast is right next to the GameCube, which is over here, and so my PS1, PS2's there, PS3's right at the top. So that's all I've got for now, and I'm really happy about it. My N64 is, it's over there, I said that, didn't I? I love it. You see, I love the thrill of the hunt of going out and collecting my retro gaming and these lost gems. They become like a gold mine, absolutely. Absolutely. Going out, I just love them. Collecting and purchasing and finding all these old lost gems, they're not just like video games, they're like treasures of trophies as well. Like, Pokemon trainers, they love going out there, catching all their Pokemon, exploring, adventuring around, looking at different Pokemon and want to catch them. In a way, I relate. I'm a gaming collector. I love going out there, exploring different parts of the wherever I live, and looking out for different shops and going in and say, oh, what game's this? What game's that? And looking at all these games I've never even seen before in their original form, so to speak. In whether it's in their cassettes or their cartridge cases, or regarding PS1 in their own discs. Yeah. So I really love the experience, right, that it gives me for being a collector, of actually going out there and hunting for these old, awesome lost gems. Now, there's saying that, I find that emulation does decrease the value of actually me being a collector and somewhat of a gamer, because I find, I'll come back to the pros and cons on emulation. I find that it decreases the value of me being a gamer, in a sense of if I can just easily emulate these games. Okay, for me personally, I'm not saying that's regarding you. I think I've sort of touched upon a few sort of good points there. Now, let's talk about a few things. Like, here are the points, sort of a pro and con. One of the things about which is an easy one to discuss, is the price of being a collector. Now, there are hidden gems in video gaming that are especially big time. And you've got accessories as well for the consoles if you want to purchase them as well. Good old accessories, add-ons and things. See, the things about being a collector and the retro gaming specifically is that these gems can cost the bomb. They can. Prestige condition, they can. But that's where emulations have the advantage there. You don't have to necessarily go out and spend. You can just easily emulate it online. Done. You don't have to go out anywhere. Simple. What I love about emulations as well, regarding the price, apart from not spending anything, is, well, it doesn't regard the pricing, does it? It's the fact that you can just say, look, it's rather convenient for me to actually emulate the game because I don't have any money. I can't afford to go out there and buy all these games, especially if they're not going to work. I'm running the risk of them not working. So that's where emulations can have the advantage as well. But that's one of the things, the risks about being a collector, that I rather enjoy. I go out and buy the game that may or may not work. You may say to the person, or the shop owner may say to you, yeah, this game works a treat on your Mega Drive or N64. Yeah, I'll take it. It's great, fantastic game. Yeah, they give you all that. 2 months later, you play the game. You're like, oh, what's going on with it? Oh, for crying out loud, it's broken. Yeah, you run that risk as well. I've not done it. My games are working top notch. They're absolutely fine, which is fantastic. So I'm happy with that. So I feel accomplished with that. More trophies, absolutely. So that's regards to pricing. So what's more convenient for your funding? So that's where being a collector, I love it. I put some money aside and go out and enjoy the hunt. What I'm looking for. Put some money aside for certain games on certain consoles. Done. So that's where emulations. If you want to buy an NES but you can't afford it, and you're not much of a collector anyway, you can easily emulate it and go, yep, I can play Super Mario Brothers. Done. Or Duck Hunt. Whatever. Lovely. But saying that, however, I know that, many people say that retro gaming is becoming really like a gold mine, and it is, by the way, it is. But there are a few YouTubers who I know that have bought such a gold mine, where it's not just the games, but also the accessories like the pads and other things, right? At car boot sales, these gold mine gems are being sold nothing more than 50 pence or a quid or 10 quid, something like that. You see what I mean? At car boot sales, you find these awesome gems at such a low price. You think, I can purchase every single... do you know what? Give me your whole car. A whole car's worth of awesome gems that these people are just getting rid of, not knowing the extreme value of how rare these games are. In many cases, the games can be so rare, you're like, wow, that could cost 50 quid or 500 quid somewhere else, and I've just purchased it for 50 pence. I've not been to a car boot sale for ages. Last time I went was when I got Crazy Taxi for the Dreamcast back in the year, was it 2000? I think it was 2000, or was it 2001? It was back when the Dreamcast was out, so that was the last time I went to a car boot sale, but I used to love going there. I used to pick up so many games on the cheap, absolutely. So it's like with the pricing, just because it may cost a couple of thousand here or a couple of hundred there, doesn't mean to say that option C is going to cost any more. It can actually cost a whole lot less. It just depends where you're going to get it from, and if you're going to go online to purchase these things. I don't really like online. I prefer going out to the shops and purchasing them, or go to another country and explore more, you see? So that's regards to pricing. See, there are pros and cons of actually what you're going to risk. It's more risky, for being a collector, because the game may not work and you pay so much money for it. Whereas with, being on emulator, it won't cost as much, so you can easily download it. Now, sort of, con number 2, your collection may look amazing on, walls. It may look great on shelves, but there's the spacing. If you live in a small flat or a small house and you've only got a limited amount of space, that can be a bit of a pain, can't it? It means you have to have a stock-up garage, or you have to ask one of your friends so you can use their pad for, to store X amount of games and the hardware as well. So that can be a bit of a pain, whereas on emulating is sort of, virtual space. It could be on a certain hardware or PC or something. Let's just regard PCs for now, alright? PCs big time, primarily. So you can just easily store everything on there. Delete, done. Symbols. So, it can be really convenient for video games all over the world to say, I like emulators because they provide the easy access for me to play games which I want to play. I don't want to spend too much money on games I've never heard of, games I just want to try out without spending much money. And you know what? I agree. Emulations are great for that, to provide the easy access to the past or whatever a game you want to emulate and play. Fine, done and dusted, fantastic. I'm with emulators on that one, whereas you don't have to spend much money. But then again, games that I've purchased are more or less my Mega Drive collection. Majority of games I've actually paid 10 pence. Dreamcast, got a whole massive stack of Dreamcast demos for free. PS1, most of the games I've paid 50 pence, 20 pence. N64. Out of all my collections, my gaming collections, the primary gaming console which would actually have cost a lot would probably be I've probably spent the most on would be my N64, to be honest. Yeah, because I've got probably X amount of games that cost quite a bit, but just a couple of quid. See, so with that authentic experience of being a collector, what I love, by the way, it provides a magnificent experience of being authenticity, and I just love it. Going out there, being like a Pokemon trainer, going out and exploring, I love it. I prefer being the collector over the emulation. Right? I prefer playing it on the original hardware and having physical copies in the physical form, and running the risk of whether they might not work or not. You know, it's all part of the experience of being a collector. There are pros and cons of both sides here, and there are certain things I've not touched upon big time, yes. But that's where I want you to come in. Do you prefer being a collector, emulator, or are you just one of those who just like, okay, I can do what's convenient for me? Because there are certain people in this world who cannot even get to a shop, right, where they may even sell these awesome gems, so they may have to look online, or they may live in a certain area where they cost a lot of money even when the shop is there, so that sort of puts them off, and like, you know what, I've got no choice, I've got to get emulation because I don't have the funding. I'm with you on that one as well. Do what's convenient for you. See, for me it's convenient for both. I can use emulation, but I'd rather not. I prefer, you know, the old-fashioned ways of being like a Pokemon trainer, going out there and exploring big time. That's what I prefer, and that's what I personally love. I especially love getting all these other accessories which I can use on the systems themselves as well. For example, PS2 iToy, NES the little gun, you know, the N64 the little rumble pack thing. It's things like that which I really love. They're like hidden trophies to me as well, like personal achievement of little gems which I collect, and I just love them. Absolutely. So there are many. This is the last time I'm going to say this, because I'm just trying to get. I want to get through to some of you. There are many points which I could have touched upon on this, but I just want to keep it small and brief. Okay, nice and simple. Nothing over the top. Nothing too major. I love being a retro collector. I love looking at my collection and feeling like, yes, I love it. I look at this game and think, I remember when I got you. Yeah, or yeah, I can say about this. I remember when I got this. Absolutely. This is Midway's Arcade Treasures for the Xbox. In a way, this is kind of like an emulation in a way. Why? Because this is was on a modern system, the Xbox. But this has got games like Juiced, Defender, Paperboy. This is games from the 80s, right? A lot of these games are from before the 90s. I love games like this, but you know, because it's on disc and was on a modern console. In a way, this is kind of like emulation. This is providing a link to the past. So I love things like, especially like Atari Anthology for the PlayStation 2, and a Mega Drive collection for the PlayStation 3, which had Sonic on there and other games like that. I love games like that, especially when they're sort of on modern consoles at the time that provide a link to the past, yes. But they're playing it on the games console, so it feels more, a bit original there, but not original to the complete sense, because you're playing it on a modern system which were meant for the systems from the past. But still, on the games console nonetheless. I still prefer playing on them on the original hardware, big time. Doesn't beat the original at all. So I'm going to say collection all the way. I prefer the original, the authenticity of the games itself being on their original hardware, and along with the accessories as well. I can actually say, I've got them in my collection. Would you like to have a look? Would you like to play on them? Simples. Now, I've been fair to emulators. They do have their pros, big time. Few less cons, but the internet's there for a reason, and they do help other people just to play games if they can't afford them or find them anywhere. Absolutely. So I'm Dr. Virtual, and may retro gaming live on. And by the way, where do you stand on the topic? I'd love to hear your opinions, guys. Take care.